Hi YouTube, my name is Daniel Lawrence. I'm the founder of DR Lawrence & Associates. We're owners representatives and construction project managers. And today we're going to continue with our series on the 5 phases of a project with the final phase, which is the closeout phase. Now the closeout phase is probably going to be one of the least intensive phases that there is aside from the initial phase for a construction project manager. And essentially what we're doing in this phase is closing out the project after it's already been executed and built and moved in. So there's really no more action on the ground. This is going to be much more of a paperwork intensive phase. Now there's going to be 4 things that we're really going to get into with the closeout phase. And that's going to be invoices and lien waivers. And then we're also going to get into budget reconciliation. We're going to talk about our closeout package from our general contractors and what those documents are that we need to be able to have on file. And then finally, the TIA package and the final draw request for tenant improvement allowance when it comes to a corporate real estate project where that might be applicable. So the first thing, like I said, we're going to talk about are the invoices and lien waivers for a project. This is at the end of a project, once all the work has been completed and inspected and it's been delivered to your client. The invoices are simply that. We're making sure that we're getting all of the final invoices from all of the different vendors who have sent an invoice or done work on the project, and we're making sure that those get approved and are sent in for payment and that they're getting paid. If you're in an agency model scenario, making sure that it's getting paid by the client. If you're more of a principal model scenario, making sure obviously that your organization is getting those invoices paid. Now, along with those invoices are lien waivers. And what a lien waiver is it's a contractor typically will have the right to lien a property if they're not paid for the work that they've done. Now, there's 2 types of lien waivers. One is going to be a progress lien waiver or a waiver of liens as you're going through a project, which is basically saying, yes, we've been paid this dollar amount to date, so we're waiving our right to lien on this certain dollar amount. And then you're going to have a final lien waiver. And what a final lien waiver is at the very end of a project, once they've completely been paid out, it says basically the same language, that they are waiving their right to lien the property and that they have been paid everything that is due, and then they're able to walk away from it from there. So lien waivers are something that you're going to get primarily with your general contractors, although it's not unheard of to get it from other vendors as well who may have those same lien rights as you're going through a property, particularly for a corporate real estate project. The next thing we're going to do as we're doing that is budget reconciliation. So primarily what this is it does tie in with our invoices. As we're getting our final invoices, those final invoices may not line up exactly with the contract amount that there is at the end of the day. Oftentimes it's because the invoice amount, the final total invoice amount from a particular vendor may end up being a little bit less than the final total contract amount, and that's absolutely not unheard of. So once we've got our invoices in and we've confirmed that there's no more coming in, that they've totally settled up, we're going to be going through each one of those contracts and reconciling the difference. So say there's a difference of $100. They've invoiced $100 less than there is on a existing contract, and they've confirmed that they're billed up in full. We're not going to be billing anymore. We simply can do a change order or a deductive change order for a negative amount to be able to bring that contract amount in line with the invoice amount so that they're all even at the end of the day. So if you have a contract for $10,000, you've got $10,000 of total invoices so that they're all in line with one another and on par. And we're going to do that with each one of the vendors that we've got as we go through the entire budget that we've got allocated for the project, until at the end of the day, when we're done with it, we know exactly how much money is left over in the budget, how much we came in under budget, which is definitely where you want to be with a project, is under budget rather than over budget. You wouldn't be able to execute those contracts if we were over budget at the end of the day doing a budget reconciliation. The budget reconciliation will also oftentimes, depending on if you've got a larger corporate client, mean reconciling the budget that you've been tracking and all of the contracts that you've been tracking along with their internal payment systems and what has been paid out, so that everything that should have been paid out is paid out and that we've got a nice clean slate at the end of the day where it's all buttoned up. The next thing we're going to talk about are the closeout documents that you might be getting from several vendors. And in particular, we're going to talk about the closeout documents that are going to be coming from a general contractor. Those are going to be things like your OM manuals, your operations and maintenance manuals for various items that were put into the space. And this could apply to a number of different vendors, but even with your general contractor, that's going to be, exactly what it sounds like, your operations and maintenance manuals, how you operate something, how you maintain something. It could be your HVAC units. It could be your lighting systems that you've got in there. It could be some of the security components. But having those manuals so that we've got those on file, know how they're supposed to operate, know what needs to be done to maintain those properly, that's going to be one of the parts to the closeout package that we're going to be getting from the general contractor. The other part that we're going to be getting are as-builts, which essentially is a drawing set that shows what was done with the space, how it was actually constructed at the end of the day, irregardless of what the permit drawing set was sent out. This is going to encapsulate any little changes that may have occurred due to unforeseen conditions. Once they open up a wall and they find something electrical or whatnot that's in there that needs to be rerouted because we're deleting a wall, for example, this final as-built drawing set is going to show everything and anything on how the space was actually constructed and built. And you may have a project where you don't have as-builts, and that's particularly going to be the case when the space was constructed as actually as permitted. So there were no real changes. You're not necessarily going to have as-builts because your initial drawing set is how it was built, hence the name as-built drawings. And then the last part of the closeout package, essentially, that we're going to be getting, aside from, like I said, invoices, lien waivers, operations manuals, are the warranty paperwork. So you'll get warranty letters from each one of the different vendors or contractors or subcontractors that performed work on the site that details what the warranty term is, what it covers, and then who to contact and how to be able to execute any warranty items that are needed as that warranty is active and the space is in full use. So we're going to be getting all of those pieces of paper together, saving those and making sure that the client has all of those on file for their appropriate use of the space. We're also going to talk about the last thing here is TIA dollars in the TIA package, which is Tenant Improvement Allowance, is what TIA stands for. Essentially what this is it's a dollar amount that a lot of leases will hold for the tenant who is doing the improvement on the project. Because the reality is the landlords or the property owners are the ones that own that building, and a tenant is going to be leasing that space within the building. So at the end of the day, the asset, the real asset, belongs to the owner or the landlord of that property. And because we're going in and we're going to be doing a construction project, oftentimes we're going to be refreshing that space. We're going to be improving or increasing the value of that asset. However, as a tenant, we don't own that asset. So in return, a lot of the leases will negotiate tenant improvement dollars, which essentially are dollars that the landlord or the owner will pay the tenant to do the upfit of their space. And every lease and every scenario is going to be a little bit different. Sometimes there are no tenant improvement dollars. Sometimes tenant improvement dollars only pertain to certain sorts of additions or improvements to the space. Most of the time, tenant improvement dollars are going to apply to your construction manager, to your architect and engineer, and to your general contractor, the actual construction of the space. Sometimes it will also apply to your AV equipment, your technology, furniture, some of the other items that are involved. But it's primarily going to be your construction management services, your architect and engineer, and the general contractor, so the actual construction of the space itself. So with the TIA package, essentially we're putting together, very similarly to the operations and closeout package from the general contractor, we're putting together a package that we can send off to the landlord and that they're going to use as a draw request, or essentially an invoice to the landlord, to be able to get those dollars paid to the tenant now that the project has been complete. And that tenant improvement package, or that TIA draw request package, oftentimes is going to include all of the invoices that were paid out that are applicable to the tenant improvement dollars. It's going to include some sort of proof that they have actually been paid and not just billed, so that they can then reimburse a lot of that payment. And it's also going to include things like the as-builts and the lien waivers. Particularly the final lien waiver from the GC is what the owner of the building is really going to want to see. And again, what's involved with that tenant improvement package is a little bit different for every lease. Every landlord is going to have different requirements. But ultimately, that's what they're looking for, showing that the project has been delivered and that it has been paid for, and that now the tenant is eligible to receive those dollars from the landlord, and we can close the project. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is not really part of closeout, but you're going to see a lot of corporate clients in particular are going to want to do a warranty walkthrough. This usually occurs 10 or 11 months or so after substantial completion of the space. So when the warranties kick in, most construction warranties are going to last for about a year. So we want to be able to walk through the space with the client, with the architect, with the general contractor, just before that warranty period expires. Like I said, 10 or 11 months or so after substantial completion. That way we can walk through, catch any little warranty items that may have occurred within the last year that haven't already previously been addressed, and almost make sure that we've got a refresh, if you will, of that space, but only pertaining to items that may have be coming up on the end of their warranty period and gone awry that need to get repaired. What that's going to do is it's going to really ensure that your client is getting a quality product, and that they're getting a quality product that is going to have a long lifespan, and that any of those warranty items are not missed, and that there's no these little thorns in the side of, they should have done this and it just wasn't caught. That's going to allow for capturing all of those things and repairing all of those things that are under warranty before it expires, so that your client has the best product for years to come. So guys, that's it for the closeout period. Thank you again for joining us today and watching our video. I want to remind you guys that we produce, we film, we video edit, and we distribute all of the material that we have on our channel ourselves. It's all done in-house. So we would really appreciate it if you guys would take the time to like and subscribe to the video. It really helps us out continuing to bring some of this content for you guys. So thank you again. And please also check out our website at drlawrenceandassociates.com, and we'd be happy to help you guys with any of your construction project management needs. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.